It's time again for another Transport Evolved Tesla News Roundup Show. Today we're covering progress on Tesla's 4680 cells, legislation targeting Tesla's direct sales model, production at GigaShanghai, and much more. Because there's been a lot of big Tesla news stories these past 2 weeks, we've covered several bigger stories in longer feature videos. We'll drop links in the comments below. But if there's a story I don't mention that you think we should cover, drop a note in the comments. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And if you want to help keep us doing what we're doing while remaining independent, I'll tell you how you can support us at the end of the video. Way back in episode 2 of this show, all of like a month ago, I told you that Tesla plans to start deliveries of Model Y cars featuring structural battery packs made with 4680 form factor battery cells by the end of this quarter. Now, it's no secret that Tesla time, Elon time, and the concept of linear time as we know it don't always line up so well. But we thought there was good reason to believe Tesla would hit this particular target. And we were right. This week we got another huge piece of news that points to Tesla being well on track. The announcement that Tesla had produced its 1 millionth 4680 battery cell at its Giga, Texas production facility. Tesla has been pinning a lot of its future roadmap on the new form factor cell it developed with Panasonic, but Panasonic has said it won't go into series production on the 4680 until next year, and CATL, BAK, and LG Energy, all of which are working on 4680 cells in conjunction with Tesla, haven't started series production yet either, although BAK announced it intends to start this year. For the moment, that makes these Tesla-built cells the only series production cells of the new form factor out there. The 4680 cylindrical battery cell is somewhere between innovative and iterative in its design, and Tesla says it will bring down cell and battery pack production costs while improving battery pack energy density, performance, and reliability. That starts with the simple fact that the new cell is much larger than its predecessors. I'm the last person to say that bigger is always better, but in the case of battery cells, it can be. A Model Y with the much longer and much girthier 4680 cells needs far fewer of them than it would with the 2170 form factor cells currently used in Model Y and Model 3 up until now. That alone should lower cost and simplify production. I could go on all day about Elon's new wider, deeper, more manly cells, but alas, this is just a roundup show, so if you want more depth, Nikki made a video about the 2020 Battery Day where this cell was unveiled, and we'll link to it below. Moving on. It's no secret that many auto dealers hate Tesla, and many more auto dealer unions, who are almost as powerful as queer folk during Fashion Week, work overtime to stop all automakers, but especially electric automakers like Tesla, from selling cars directly to customers. When Tesla first began selling its Model S in that bygone era of almost a decade ago, when Call Me Maybe was topping the charts in a non-ironic way, Tesla had to blaze the way and fight tooth and nail to circumvent the almost airtight dealer protection laws found in most US states. Elon Musk insisted on selling directly to consumers because he felt, quite rightly as it turned out, that dealers couldn't make the case for EVs being awesome without crapping on their ICE cars, which, with their frequent servicing needs and familiarity, were bigger moneymakers. Michigan famously changed one single word of its franchise protection law in 2014 to close a loophole that would have allowed Teslas to be sold and serviced in state. It took 6 years before Tesla wrangled a way to sell in Michigan, and it still can't sell cars in more than a third of US states, including its home state of Texas, though the company has gone to great lengths to make the buying process as painless as possible for residents of those states. Because, it would be incredibly embarrassing if Tesla didn't bend over backward to sell Texas residents vehicles that were made in Texas. I mean, That'd be like Texas refusing to connect its electricity grid to the rest of the US electrical system to prevent a massive power cut from occurring, plunging millions of people into cold darkness for days during an unusually cold snap. Anyway, while things are very different today than when Tesla first launched Model S, there's still some states who are hell-bent on preventing Teslas from being sold there. The latest? Oklahoma. It's trying to pass a new bill, House Bill 3994, which would ban Tesla and all new automakers from selling directly to consumers, and ban them from servicing vehicles in the state. Tesla isn't the only big EV game in town these days, though it remains by far the largest by sales volume in the States. EVs are clearly no passing fad, which has dealerships and their lobbying groups worried. If consumers are going to be buying EVs, auto dealer associations want them buying and servicing them at dealerships. And since the whole concept of letting the so-called free market decide such things falls apart as soon as industry's pocketbooks are threatened, the auto dealer unions step in to protect their interests. And in the case of the sooner state, apparently the sooner the better. Here at the channel, we're not so fond of the state nickname, and we're not fond of this action either. Tesla, using its Tesla Engage platform, is asking Oklahoma locals to reach out to their representatives to push back against this new restrictive legislation. If the bill is passed, Tesla says it could be forced to close its existing locations there and require customers to travel out of state to take possession of their new cars or service their existing ones. A similar bill in Mississippi appears to have hit a legislative dead end for now. Of course, EV drivetrains and direct sales weren't the only trends Tesla helped make popular, though I think Call Me Maybe's success happening the same year as the Model S was actually a coincidence. No, see, Tesla set a high bar with its over-the-air software updates, and many big players in the automotive industry have followed its lead for both their ICE and electric vehicles. That's something else that has dealer associations clutching their pearls. After all, if your car can update itself wirelessly, how is your dealership going to upsell you on a 50,000-mile service while a technician plugs a dongle into your port? Clean Technica reports that West Virginia House Bill 4560 would, among other things, ban automakers from sending over-the-air updates rather than requiring vehicles to come into a dealership or service center for software changes, which would of course mean paying a servicing fee. It's tempting to say, wait, no automaker would stand for that. But it's really important to remember that automakers have surprisingly little influence on a state level compared to dealerships. Tesla has disrupted the auto industry, and I think this is the tip of the iceberg for said industry, particularly dealership associations pushing back, so watch this space. Turning our attention to the other side of the globe, and in case anyone has doubts, it is a globe, we have Tesla's GigaShanghai. Data from China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, according to Twitter user Troy Teslike, who has a good track record of getting this stuff right, shows that Tesla produced over 68,000 cars there in January of 2022. Some sources online suggest the plant will build more than 800,000 vehicles this year, though most analysts suggest that figure will be lower due to time off for the Chinese New Year. Honestly, we here at the channel think it could go either way. The year is young, and Tesla has beaten production estimates many times before. Regardless, GigaShanghai is going to be churning out serious vehicle numbers throughout 2022. I can't overstate how wild Tesla's ramp-up in vehicle production has been, and GigaShanghai is a big part of that. I've talked about this before, but Tesla delivered 100,000 vehicles for the first time just 5 years ago, and last year it did almost 1 million cars, with a massive nearly 30% gross automotive margin, all in the face of global supply chain disruptions that affected the entire auto industry. This year's numbers look certain to blow last year's out of the water. Those numbers could still fall short of analyst predictions, though, if Tesla can't get its Giga Berlin plant operational, which continues to be a headache. Multiple changes to the plant added to the red tape and regulatory hurdles, And now, concerns about water usage threaten to further delay the start of production there. Tesla may be one of the more water-efficient automakers, but building cars still requires huge quantities of water, which is a problem for a plant built in an area facing steady declines in groundwater levels. With climate change threatening to diminish groundwater reserves and planned Giga Berlin plant expansions poised to require more water than originally discussed, it's an understandable concern. On the other hand, many people have pointed out that a local coal mining operation is currently soaking up vastly more water than Tesla's most pessimistic projections would require, so take everything with a pinch of salt. Or don't, since that'll leave you pretty thirsty. Now for something light. The USA has, at long last, ended its absurd ban on adaptive matrix headlights. These lights can selectively dim or cut off portions of their projected beam to avoid blinding oncoming drivers. In their most sophisticated form, they can also project all sorts of images onto a wall, or in some cases onto the road in front of the car. Many premium automakers have been using this technology for some time in regions outside the US. With the legal changes in place, Elon Musk appeared to confirm on Twitter that Tesla was stopping Model S production briefly to reconfigure the assembly line so new cars moving forward will be equipped with matrix headlights and taillights. This is some seriously cool sci-fi tech, and it's good to see it at last coming to the USA. Some Chinese-built Model 3s and Model Ys are already using adaptive matrix lights, so expect that technology to also come to US-built 3s and Ys soon. There may even be some roaming around with the hardware already, just waiting for an OTA update. Finally, and I mean that in more ways than one, Tesla's begun Model Y deliveries in Great Britain. While the Y has been available in much of the world for some time now, places that drive on the wrong, left, side of the road have had to wait longer to get access to Tesla's Model 3 based crossover. Tesla has been very clear that it sees the Y as the most important vehicle currently in its lineup, and Elon Musk has confidently predicted that the Tesla Model Y will be the best-selling car in the world in 2022. But it's worth noting that the Model Y is entering the British market at a time when many automakers are building compelling crossover EVs for sale there. From the Ford Mustang Mach-E and Kia EV6 to more budget-oriented options such as the MG ZS EV, a buyer looking for an electric crossover or SUV has a lot of options. Not to mention that, unlike the US domestic market, there are plenty of EV hatchbacks that aren't crossovers for sale in the UK. Here in the States, liftgates and tall tires go together like high points and cut-off t-shirts, but in much of the rest of the world, you can still buy a hatchback without having to step up into your vehicle. I know plenty of Model Y owners that would cheerfully instead have bought a Model 3 with a Model S-style liftback, or something like an e-Golf if it had Tesla's specs. Still, even with all the choice in the market, Teslas remain wildly popular cars in the UK, and I expect the Model Y to do well there, though I don't know that it will dominate the market the way it might stateside, where, by the way, it was rated the best EV of the year by Cars.com. That said, UK Model 3 sales soared last year because of very generous company car tax regulations that made it easy to afford a Model 3 if you had the right job. So, expect Model Ys on corporate fleets and company car lists soon. That's it for today. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to leave your thoughts below or in our free-to-join Discord chat room. There's a link in the video description. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this channel and our other channel, Transfer Evolved Take 2, and give the bell a poke to make sure you're told when our next video goes live. Thanks on behalf of the entire T crew go out to the folk on my right for being our $15 to $49 a month supporters. Special thanks to our $50 a month patrons, Chris Maxwell, Bennett Elder, Brian Newton, Dave Kitchen, Michael Goad, Ricky Leong, Andrew Martin, Guido Drahada, Brophy Wolf, Tesla Nagong, Gordon C., Stephen O'Donohue, Kyle Hodson, Anthony Coates, Raging Fellows, Rory Litwin, Anonymous Freak, Jim Burness, Zachary Courtney, and Denny Hyde. And our deepest gratitude to our $100 a month Patreon supporters, Marcel Ward, Reggie Watts, Joe Bresney, JP Fagerback, Will Graylin, Matthew Drobnak, John Lyons, Christopher Lee Jones, Laura Reynolds, Paul Conway, Ellery Hensley, and Ian. Feeling left out? You can join Patreon at the link below, hit the join button to support us right here on YouTube. You can also send us some support through Bitcoin, buy us a coffee on Ko-fi, or pick up some merch at our cool swag store. Links in the video description. Thanks for joining me, and as always, keep evolving.